Joining me today on NYSE Floor Talk here in Miami at LTF 2024 is Daniela Izquierdo. She is the co-founder and CEO at Foodology. Daniela, it's wonderful to have you on. Thanks for joining me again.
It's wonderful to be here, Judy. I'm super excited that we got to do this in person this time.
Me too. So let's start off actually by talking about the company. Talk about Foodology. What is it?
So Foodology is an operating platform to scale restaurant brands across Latin America. And what that means is that we create virtual brands and have the full operation of cloud kitchens to actually put that brand close to all the Latin American consumers in many cities around the region, from Mexico to Colombia to Brazil, even in Peru.
Now, how did your past experiences help you start the company?
So I think I've always been absolutely fascinated by food and the restaurant industry. And even so that when I graduated from high school, I actually begged my parents if I could take a year off before going to university and studying engineering to study cooking. And I went to Italy for almost a year to study cooking. I realized it was a big passion of mine. I also realized how hard the business is, which is one of the main reasons I started Foodology, because I wanted to change how the traditional industry worked. And actually having that experience and getting to know this is a tough business. This is a people business where you truly depend on the ability and the kind of quality of the people that you have, made me really realize that something had to be changed.
And what's been key to growing the company in different countries?
Well, I think the key to growing the company in different companies has been to be able to form really high quality teams in each of the countries. In each of the countries, we have a general manager. And our structure is weird because we have general managers for each of the countries, but then we have functional heads. We do have a CMO, a CFO, etc. But the general manager has such a big impact in each of the countries because, again, as this is a business that is very operationally and very on the ground, having someone there that's present, that helps you develop the culture that you want to develop so that it's the same across all the countries. I think that's one of the most important things that you can do. I think the other thing is realizing that each country will have differences. Latin America as a whole might look as one big thing, obviously, but there are particularities in each of the different countries. So I think being aware of that and kind of being flexible to changing how you do things in certain countries, I think that also is very helpful in being able to grow the business.
And as the company grows, what challenges do you see in mixing online and physical stores?
That's an amazing question. We actually just launched our first 3 physical stores. I call it more a marketing experiment. So from the beginning of Foodology, we did fully virtual brands that did not have brick and mortar. And similar to some of big competitors, well, not competitors, but big companies kind of call it Warby Parker away, that have started online and then moved into a retail presence. We started thinking one of the things that we have the hardest time with is building brand equity and building brand awareness. We've managed to do it for virtual brands, but our thinking was would this add to it? Would actually having the brick and mortar, not 1,000, not a Starbucks strategy where you have one in every corner, but maybe a flagship store in each city where people could see the brand, interact, have a different experience. How can that actually complement to the brand and identity and the brand awareness within consumers? So we started off with, they're only a couple months old, so I can't answer right away how that's gonna look. But I do think it's gonna be adding value. Basically, brands that have already been proven, that have loyal customers, that are already loved, even if they never had a brick and mortar. Putting them in retail shops, I think, is gonna be a great experiment for us to actually hear about the customer in person.
And as you look to the remainder of 2024, what are you most focused on? Is it building more online stores, building more physical stores? What are you focused on?
So our biggest focus today is Brazil. Brazil is the country that we opened last. It's a young country for us. It's only 18 months. But it's the country where our operation, where our kitchen units have grown the fastest. And it's the biggest country. So I'm very excited about the growth that's to come from Brazil because we're only in Sao Paulo, in one city with a small operation. So that is our biggest focus for this year, is actually getting to grow that, getting to build an operation as big as maybe the one that we have in Mexico, building brands as strong as the ones that we have in the other countries in Brazil, because it's just such a big country with such a big population, and also great for food, honestly.
Now, here we are in Miami at LTF 2024. So tell me, what does it mean to you to be here with these, other leaders, experts? What is it like for you to be here?
Well, first of all, I'm honored that they invite me here because I do think at this event they have one of the highest quality of both founders and even people from the ecosystem, whether it's VC partners or from other like law firms, etc. And I'm honored to be included in that group. I think it's a great opportunity to network and to meet more people that are working for the region. At the end of the day, Latin America is a region that has not always been the focus for like investments for technology. And the more success stories that we have in the region, the more it'll be in the like public eye for global investors to come and see. So actually meeting other amazing Latin American founders and kind of like building these spaces where we can think like, how do we all promote the region, I think are very important to actually make that happen and kind of like stop this shift that we have where investors, we call them like tourist investors, where they might come, do a couple investments, but then macro changes or something and then they leave. We really want Latin America to be the center of where technology is happening and to have like long-term people looking at and believing in the region.
Now, you are a tech founder. What would be one gadget that you would invent that would make your life easier?
So I don't know how it would be a gadget, but I've always thought that it would be amazing if I could like take kind of like mental notes or like do mental reminders. I know you have Siri and Alexa and like things that you can tell like remind me X or remind me, but sometimes you just think about it like I need to text this person tomorrow as soon as I wake up. That thing that they just said is super interesting, but like I don't have where to write it down just right away. So I don't know how, if it would be like a chip integrated into my head or something, but like something that would like let me take mental notes on stuff.
I could use that myself, so I like that. And one final question for you, Daniela. You are a female founder, and you're not only a female founder, but female founder in Latin America. So what does that mean to you, and what would you say to other females out there who want to be founders and want to start companies?
Yeah. So yes, definitely there's few of us. This event like really makes at least a big effort on bringing women, both founders and others, but it's still like a less than 10%. And in founders, I think there were only like 5 or 7 founders present at this 400 people event. So for me, what it means is that I have a personal responsibility to push this forward and to like try and help as many early stage female founders as possible. I actually joined a small group of investors and founders, and we built this tiny fund where we're only investing in female founders. Again, not significant, super small checks, but we really want to be there to help them and to build a network around them. Because I think what we're missing is to have kind of like the equivalent of the PayPal mafia or the Rappi team in Colombia, but specifically for women, and kind of build our own club around it.
Mm-hmm. I like that. All right. Well, Daniela, it's been wonderful to talk with you. Thanks for joining me on Floor Talk today.
No, Judy, thank you so much for having me. This has been wonderful.